Welcome back to another chilling episode of CrimeSceneX. Today's story will cover 3 disturbing and true Airbnb horror stories. If you enjoy the video, then please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for daily scary story uploads. Sit back and enjoy the video. The Airbnb I booked was nothing out of the ordinary, a 1-bedroom apartment in a decent part of the city. It was a last-minute booking for a quick weekend getaway. The host, Sarah, had only one rule listed: please do not enter the study, it's off limits. Upon my arrival, Sarah gave me a quick tour, showing off the cozy living room, the small but functional kitchen, and the bedroom with an inviting bed. She glanced nervously at a closed door, decorated with a vintage doorknob and a shiny new padlock. "That's the study, which is off limits as mentioned in the listing," she said. I assured her I had no interest in breaking her one rule. The first day went without a hitch. I explored the city, had some great food, and returned to the apartment in the evening. Everything was as it should be. The creepiness started on the second day. I woke up to find the living room in a mess. The cushions were off the couch, and magazines were scattered on the floor. It looked like someone had rifled through them. I cleaned up, puzzled, thinking maybe I'd somehow made the mess when I was tired the previous night. I sent a message to Sarah to let her know, and she responded, "I'm sorry for any inconvenience. It could be the wind from an open window, perhaps." I shrugged it off and headed out for the day. When I returned, I found my suitcase wide open, clothes strewn everywhere. I froze at the threshold. I had definitely zipped it up that morning. My heart raced as I checked to see if anything was missing. Nothing seemed to be. All windows were secure, and the front door had been locked. Feeling uneasy, I decided to double-check all the locks before heading to bed. That's when I noticed something odd. The padlock on the study was different. It looked newer, shinier than the one I'd seen before. My mind raced. Had Sarah come in to change the lock? Why would she? I sent her a message, asking if she'd been in the apartment that day. Her reply was swift. "No, I haven't been there. Is something wrong?" I called the police to file a report. They came, checked the apartment, but found no signs of forced entry. They suggested I find somewhere else to stay, just in case. Unable to sleep, and now waiting for a friend to come pick me up, I sat there going through the listing again, reading the reviews, looking for anything I might have missed. That's when I saw it. A review from 2 weeks ago that read, "Great stay, cozy apartment. Odd that the study was locked the first night but opened the second. Didn't really use it though." My heart sank. The implication was heavy in the air, a noose of realization tightening around my neck. Someone had been in the apartment while I was out. Someone had been there yesterday and today. Someone had made a mess, rifled through my belongings, and replaced the lock on the study. And that someone likely had a key. The thought made my skin crawl. What were they looking for? Why the change of locks? Were they coming back? Before I could spiral further, my friend arrived to pick me up. As I stepped out of the apartment, I took one last glance back. The thought that someone else had been living in that space without me knowing, that they could come and go as they pleased, was chilling. I was thrilled when I first stumbled across the Airbnb listing, a state-of-the-art smart home situated in a peaceful suburb, operated by a tech aficionado named Alex. "Experience the future of living," the tagline read. With features like voice-activated lighting, a smart fridge, and a high-tech security system, it seemed too good to pass up. When I arrived, Alex welcomed me with an infectious enthusiasm that could only belong to someone who loved technology as much as life itself. He gave me a comprehensive tour, taking particular pride in showing off the security features. "In this day and age, you can't take safety lightly," he said, explaining that the entire system could be controlled via an app. The first night was enchanting. I commanded lights to dim, adjusted the room temperature via voice commands, and even had the refrigerator suggest a recipe based on its contents. It felt like I had stepped into the future. However, on my second night, the sheen of this technological marvel began to tarnish. While I was surfing the web on my laptop, the room's lights started flickering. Annoying, sure, but not unusual for smart homes still working out their kinks. But then the smart TV burst to life, cycling through channels at an alarming rate before abruptly shutting down. As I reached for my phone to message Alex about these glitches, I got an unexpected notification. "New admin user added to your smart home system." My pulse quickened. I hadn't added anyone, and Alex had specifically assured me he would not access the system during my stay. Almost immediately, the cameras positioned throughout the house, the ones that were supposed to be inactive unless manually activated for security purposes, flashed their LED lights, indicating they were now recording. I felt a surge of dread. My privacy was being violated in real time, and I was locked out of the very system designed to give me control. I had to get out. I grabbed my essentials and rushed to the door, my heart pounding with each step. Just as I touched the doorknob, I received another chilling notification. Door locks activated, intrusion detected. I was aghast. Whoever had control of the system had now locked me in. As a last resort, I grabbed a chair and smashed a window, climbing out in a frantic escape. Once I was in my car, I floored the gas pedal, not caring about anything except putting distance between me and that house. I contacted Alex, who was flabbergasted and promised immediate action. I also reported the incident to Airbnb, providing screenshots of the unnerving notifications. The property was delisted, pending an investigation. Weeks later, I received an email from Airbnb's investigative team. They had traced the unauthorized access to an unknown offshore location, but were unable to identify the intruder. Alex had not been found culpable, but he chose not to relist his property, too shaken by the event. Yet the creepiest part came when they shared the findings from the camera data retrieval. For the brief period the cameras were activated, they hadn't recorded me. Instead, they had been reversed to record segments of the empty rooms in the house, as if whoever controlled them was signaling that they weren't interested in watching me. They wanted me to know they could have if they wanted to. And so I am left to wonder, every time I enter a new space equipped with the so-called conveniences of modern living, whether the promise of control is just an illusion. I was on a solo road trip, and after hours of driving through unfamiliar countryside, I finally reached my Airbnb. The host, Mark, had described it as a quiet, remote retreat, and it was. The closest neighbor was at least a mile away, and all around were fields and forests, hardly a human settlement in sight. Mark greeted me when I arrived. He seemed friendly enough, though a bit overly concerned about security for such a remote location. "I take safety very seriously," he explained, handing me a physical key for the door and another, smaller key for a wall-mounted safe in the bedroom. "Feel free to use the safe for your valuables. You're the only one who will have access to it." The house itself was simple and comfortable, decorated in a sort of rustic minimalism. There was no Wi-Fi, but Mark assured me that the TV had a lot of channels. Perfect for a solitary evening, I thought. I decided to take a long walk, and when I returned, I felt refreshed. I made some dinner, watched a bit of TV, and then decided to turn in early. Before I did, though, I decided to place my passport, wallet, and phone in the safe, just as Mark had suggested. It seemed unnecessary, but something compelled me to use it. I slept soundly, but woke up to the rattling noise of a key in the front door lock. Startled, I looked at the clock. It was 3:47 a.m. I leapt out of bed and grabbed the lamp from the nightstand, ready to wield it if necessary. But the door didn't open. The sound ceased, replaced by retreating footsteps. My heart pounding, I opened the bedroom window just in time to see a figure disappearing into the dark woods. Shaken, I immediately checked the safe. My valuables were still there, untouched. I grabbed my phone and realized I had no signal, no way to call for help. All I could do was lock myself in and wait for dawn. When daylight broke, I packed my bags and practically bolted out of the house, locking the door behind me. Mark was nowhere to be seen as I returned the keys to a lockbox beside the front porch. I couldn't shake the thought. Had he given someone else a copy of the house key, thinking my valuables would be left out in the open? Once I was back in the realm of cell service, I called the police. They took my statement but told me that without any physical evidence, there was little they could do. I also contacted Airbnb, who promised an investigation. They refunded my stay, but could not provide immediate answers. Weeks later, the incident still fresh in my mind, I received an email update from Airbnb. Mark's property had been removed from the site. They had found that he had a network of small cameras installed throughout the property, disguised as everyday objects. The safe, however, was camera-free, just as he had promised. The disturbing implication hung in the air. Whoever had tried to enter the house that night wasn't just a random intruder. They knew I would be there, alone and unprotected. What they didn't count on was my use of the safe, an action that, unbeknownst to me, thwarted whatever plans they may have had. While the experience remains unexplained and the person was never caught, it's a haunting reminder. In a world where we rely on the trust of strangers for our accommodations, what we believe to be our sanctuary can quickly become something far more sinister. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please like the video, comment what you thought, and subscribe for daily uploads.